Hi, and welcome to week 4 of Design for Life Bible Study. This week we're looking at individual design, kind of like your personality, the way that God hardwired you. And we're going to learn our lessons primarily from the life of Mary and Martha. We see the story in Luke chapter 10, 38 and 42, where Jesus is teaching, and what a great opportunity it would be to have Jesus there in person teaching in your home. And that's the setting where we encounter Mary and Martha. Now, they're sisters, Mary and Martha, and this is their house. And so Jesus has come into their home, and he's given this teaching, and there's people gathered around listening. And it's in this setting that we see Martha get really frustrated. Now, why is Martha frustrated? She's frustrated because her sister Mary is sitting on the ground at Jesus' feet, just soaking in all the great things that Jesus is teaching. And now while this is going on, Martha is busily working to make sure that everything in the home is taken care of. And we can discern from this that they had very different personalities. So they shared a lot in common. I mean, they're sisters. They have the same worldview. They grew up in the same home. They had access to Jesus' ministry. A lot of the things that they had experienced were the same. But yet, despite that, their personalities and how they dealt with this environment was completely different. And any of us who have siblings or maybe kids can recognize you can grow up in the same home and come out completely different. I know my brothers and I are all different, and so are my kids. And so we see this tension between the two sisters as Martha approaches Jesus and she says to Jesus, "Jesus, you need to." And I think about the silliness of that, and yet I realize in my own life, there have been times when I've been tempted, even stepped into that temptation of trying to tell God what he should do. And that's where we see Martha. So we can relate to her in her frustration as she goes, "Jesus, you need to tell her to get to work." You see, Martha was upset because Mary wasn't pulling her fair share. And of course, again, as siblings, any of us who grow up in a home with siblings, we know that's one of the most common sibling fights. That person's not doing their work and I'm having to carry their weight. And so she's having this discussion with Jesus, fully expecting that Jesus is going to go, "Yeah, hey, Mary, get up and get to work. Look at Martha doing all the work." But that's not the response that Jesus gives. In fact, he turns to Martha in the middle of his teaching and he says, "Martha, she chose the better thing." And then he turns back to teaching. Now, we don't know if at that moment Martha put down her towel and sat down on the floor. In fact, just knowing how people work, I doubt that's what happened. In fact, I think what happened was Martha probably continued to tidy up, maybe paid a little bit more attention, but hopefully she stopped looking at her sister with disdain. Hopefully she gave up her dream of teaching Jesus how to be God, because Martha that day was out of step. Now, let's not overstate this though. Martha did a great work, and there's times when God just uses people who are really great at nurture, and there's times he uses people who are really great at planning things out, and they're both necessary. You see, Jesus wasn't the one who was picking on Martha for not doing what she should do. He was the one who was defending Mary for being who she was. You see, all of us have a hard wiring. We're made by God with certain things that, it's just part of who we are. And no matter what our parents do, no matter what environments we grow up in, it remains with us. And we need both Mary's and Martha's. It's not which one do we need and which one don't we need. We need all of it. And however God has wired you, you need to know you are exactly the person that God wanted you to be. How you are wired, your personality is exactly what we, the people of God, need. You are perfect just like you are. And you see, sometimes we look at people across the room and we go, "Wow, they've got this incredible gift. They do this," and we want to be like them. Either we try to change to be like them, or maybe even we look down on them and say, "Why are they like that? They should be more like me." And you see, that's just the sin of comparison. We are not supposed to compare ourselves to others, but rather we are supposed to be who we are for the sake of serving others and ultimately for serving God. So I just want to encourage you as we continue through work through week 4, be who God created you to be and do the best that you can at that. Don't worry if Mary's doing something different than you. And if you're Mary, don't worry about Martha. Just be you, and God will use that for good.